All right, let's talk about the materials you're going to need for this project. This that you're seeing is the kit that I sell that comes with this pattern. There is some things that you'll need. So we'll need a green yarn, a brown yarn, and you'll notice that I use Parfait Chunky, and this is a size 6. Then you're going to need a 5mm hook if you are using the Premier Parfait Chunky or some sort of similar chenille. And then you are also going to need eyes and a needle, unless you're going to embroider your eyes. I am using, I believe, a 12mm eyes and then just a regular darning needle. And of course, you're going to want some sort of stuffing. I use polyfill, but you can use whatever you have around, even if it's an old pillow. The kit is available for you to purchase if you do not feel like buying all the pieces individually. All right, let's get started. If you purchase one of my crochet kits, you're going to be getting a pre-started magic circle in your kit. So you'll want to start on step 2 or round 2. First, I'm going to show you how to do the magic circle. If you don't know how to make a magic circle or magic ring, there is a video linked in the description on how to do that. I even include a plush trick for working with plush yarn. All right, we're going to get started with our magic circle. So I'm going to chain 1 and into my magic circle, and then I'm going to crochet or single crochet 6 single crochets into this magic circle. So there's 1, and single crochet again through the magic circle, grab 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, and I'm going to try to pull it a little bit just so I can get through that initial crochet, because plush yarn can be a little tricky. And you can see sometimes it starts to snag, and I'm gonna pull through just to get a smaller hole there. All right, and now I'm gonna continue with my single crochets into that magic circle. All right, so I'm going to push through the magic circle. I'm going to grab, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And now that's 2. And I'm going to go through, grab the yarn, pull through, grab the yarn, pull through 2. Again, through, up, over, through. And now I have 4 and 5. All right, we need 1 more. There we go. And we are going to pull nice and tight. If you purchased one of my pre-started kits, you're going to have 2 stitch markers. One is going to be your working yarn, and the other is going to be the first crochet that you're going to go into. So with the pre-started kit, you are starting on round 2. And for those of you who are just working along with me and you've already created your magic circle, you're going to be going through that very first single crochet. During this round, we are working in the back loops only. What that means is there are 2 little stitches in each crochet. There's a back loop and a front loop. So we are looking at that back loop when we crochet. So we will go through just the back loop. Okay, and then we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to repeat that again on the next. Okay, we have our stitch marker, and now we're going to go into those back loops only, single crochet around. So through the back loop, grab the yarn, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to keep going. So back loop, through the back loop, grab the yarn, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. And then the next one, through the back loop, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, back loop, pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2. Through the back loop, yarn over, pull through, now 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, so now we're ready for round 3. Okay, so for round 3, we're going to do just a single crochet 6 times around. So we're going to take that stitch marker out. Again, this time we're going in through just the single crochet, so go through both of those loops. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Make sure you put your stitch marker back so you know when you get to the end. Okay, I'm going to go through the single crochet. I'm going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Through the single crochet, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Next one, through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to keep doing that till we get to the end. So through, yarn over the hook, through 2. Next one, pull the yarn through the crochet, around, through. Okay, when we start on round 4, we are going to be actually changing colors. So you're going to go through those 2 loops that are under your working yarn there. And then you're going to snip that off and grab your hair color. If you're using the kit, it is the green. You'll pull out that tail, tighten it down, and then just shove it into the stem there. Okay, so you should have 2 loops on your hook, and then you're going to be grabbing your green yarn. All right, I have got my green yarn. I'm going to kind of loop it around my hook and pull it through those 2 loops that I had left over from the brown. And I'm going to take my 2 little tails, my green and my brown, and I'm going to just double knot them together just to secure them to make sure my yarn doesn't pop through. Okay, so we're working in our round 4. We are working in the front loops only, increasing in each stitch. So what that means is we are going to be doing 2 single crochets in every front loop. So we're going to end up with 12 stitches. So we're going to do our single crochet, and then we're going to go into that exact same stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 2 single crochets in that first front loop. So we're going to continue that all the way around. So we're going to push through, yarn over, pull through 2. Again in the exact same place. All right, we'll do that one more time. Through the front loops only, grab some yarn, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Go through that same stitch, yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, I am going to speed up and meet you at the end here. So at the very end, we should end up with 12 stitches. So if you want to pause and finish that loop, you're doing 2 single crochets in every front loop. I will meet you at the end. Now that we are at the end of round 4, we're going to start round 5. In round 5, we are going to do a single crochet, then an increase. We're going to do that 6 times. So we'll go through the first one, and we're going to do our single crochet. So pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's our single crochet. Put your stitch marker in so you don't lose your spot. Okay. Now we're going to go and do our increase in the next stitch. So that is going to be 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So I'm going to go through, grab my yarn, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to do it again in that exact same spot. So push my hook through, grab the yarn, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, we're going to repeat that. So single crochet, which is, there we go. And then an increase, which again is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And pull through 2. Okay, now we're going to repeat that all the way around again. So 1 single, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and an increase, yarn through, pull over, okay, and 1 more, in, out, round 2. All right, so we're gonna pause the video here and meet me at that stitch marker. Again, 1 single crochet, increase until you get to the end there. Welcome to round 6. We are going to be doing 18 single crochets around each round. So there are 6 rounds from round 6 to round 11, and you're just going to be going around and around 18 single crochets each time. Make sure you use your stitch marker. Sometimes I'll put an extra little stitch marker just down at the bottom so I can count how many times I've gone, or I keep track on a piece of paper. So single crochet through there, and then put your stitch marker back. All right, and we are going to start our single crochets around. Remember, there are 18. You'll see me here putting a piece of scrap yarn just so that in case somebody talks to me or I lose track of which row I'm on, I can easily go back and count them. So I'm going to have you pause the video here and meet me at the end of round 11. So you are going to be doing single crochets around until round 11. Here we are at round 12, and we are going to check out where I put that marking yarn. So that was round 6. So I want to make sure I'm counting that I got to round 11. So I am going to take that out. And we're going to start on round 12. Round 12 is 2 single crochets, 1 increase. So here's our first single crochet. So yarn through, pull through 2, and put our stitch marker on. Now we've got our next single crochet. So through the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2. And then now we're going to increase in our next one, and that is 2 singles in the same crochet stitch. So single crochet in the same stitch is another single crochet. Okay, we're going to do that again. We're going to do 2 single crochets. So here is 1, and next one, 2. And then we're going to do an increase. So again, 2 single crochets in that same stitch. Okay, and now I'm going to pause here. You're going to meet me at the end of that row and get, again, 2 single crochets, 1 increase, and then at the end you should end up with 24 stitches. During round 13, we are going to be increasing and then doing 3 single crochets. So our first one is going to be our increase. So 2 single crochets in that first spot. Don't forget your stitch marker. So we just did our increase. Now we've got 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, 3 single crochet. Now we're going to repeat the process. We've got an increase, 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So 1, 2, and then we're going to do 3 single crochets in the next stitch. And I am going to have you pause the video here and follow that pattern until you get to the stitch marker at the end. You should end with 30 stitches. Welcome to round 14. This round we are going to do 4 single crochets and then 1 increase. So 1 single crochet, put your stitch marker back, and then we have 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll do our increase, which is 2 single crochets in that same stitch. So 1, 2. All right, we're going to repeat that same process all the way around because we are building up our body of our pear. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here we are going to do our increase in this next stitch. So single crochet, and again single crochet in the same stitch. All right, once again, going to have you pause here and I will meet you at welcome to round 15. All right, so in this one we're going to be just building that body some more. So we're doing 36 single crochets around. We are working in 4 rounds. So just like we did before, we're going to keep track somehow of our rounds. So it's a single crochet, and then again 36 of those single crochets till you get to round 18, which is 4 rounds around, and I will meet you there. Now that we're at round 19, we're going to start introducing our decrease. And so this is going to be our round 19. So first we'll do our first single crochet, put our stitch marker in. Okay, so we're going to get 4 single crochets. So that was 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. And 4. Okay, let's get into our decrease. Now a decrease, we're going to be doing an invisible decrease. So what you're going to need to look for are your front loops of the next 2 stitches. So front loop 1, front loop 2. What you're going to do is you're going to take your hook and you're going to go through both of those front loops, and then you'll grab the yarn and pull through both of those front loops. Okay? So it looks like this. So you're going to go through the first front loop, then you're going to go through the second front loop. Sometimes you need to hook it and twist. So through that second front loop, just like that. Now you have 2 on your chain. So I'm going to do that again. So hook through the first one, hook through the second one. Okay, so now you have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to grab your yarn and you're going to pull through both of those. So pull through 2. All right, then you're going to just go like a normal single crochet. So then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2. And there is your first invisible decrease. Okay, we're going to repeat that pattern again with 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to repeat that decrease. All right, let's do that decrease again. So again, front loop, front loop. So hook through the front, hook again through the next front, all right, so then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and then pull through those 2 loops. Okay, so now that's your second invisible decrease. You're going to repeat the process. You'll want to pause the video here and catch up with me at the end. Again, 4 single crochet, 1 invisible decrease. Rewind if you need to see that again, and I will meet you at the end of round 19. Round 20 is very similar to round 19, so it's going to be 3 single crochets and then a decrease, and you're going to do that all the way around. So again, first single, 1, put your stitch marker in, 2 single crochet, and 3 single crochet. And then we're going to go into that decrease again, which is the front loops of the next 2 stitches. Oops. You're going to yarn over, pull through both of those loops, yarn over and pull through 2 again. And then you're going to just repeat that process. So same as last time, I'm going to have you pause and meet me at the end. If you need to rewatch invisible decrease, please do so. And I will see you at round 21. Now, before we get to round 21, we are going to put in our eyes. So if you have the kit, they already gave you the eyes. If you have your own, you're going to want to find the size that looks best in what you want it to look like. If you're giving this to a baby or a toddler, you may want to think about embroidering the eyes or using some felt eyes that you can glue on. Safety eyes, even though they are called safety eyes, are not the safest. You can add a little bit of fabric glue when you stick it in, and that'll secure it a little bit more. What I'm going to do now is kind of spin it around, see where I like my pear shape and where I want to put my eyes. So once I find that, I'm going to kind of flatten it down, and then we're going to decide where the eyes are going to go. So I'm going to put my eyes about between row 13 and 12. So I kind of go through and I know that the first ones count. Remember the stem count. So I'm going to go about here and find again where I want my eyes to sit nicely on the pear. I'm going to stick them in. And then I'm going to stick in the second one a few stitches apart so that I can kind of see where I like them. You can keep moving them until you like where they are. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn it inside out and put on the backing. You just pop those in nice and secure. Like I said, you can put some fabric glue in there. I've seen people put felt on the back to secure it in, so options. Okay, and I noticed my little eye is falling in, so I'm gonna adjust that a little bit. Now you can always add details. You can add white around the edges. We'll add a smile later, and then you can always add eyebrows too if you wanted to. All right, let's begin stuffing. So if you have the kit, you're going to use the stuffing that is included. If you do not, you're going to want to find some stuffing that you can put in here. So you're going to push into the stem, and when you're stuffing, you want it to be pretty full without stretching it out. You don't want to stretch out your stitches too much, because then you can tell that you're overfilling when you can start to see the white stuffing through. But if you don't put enough in, it kind of doesn't look right either. So you want to make sure that you are pushing things in and really stuffing and securing it in. I had noticed that one of my stem threads was coming out, so what I would do is just plop my crochet hook in there and pull it through down through the bottom and kind of wiggle it out. Now it should be a little bit secure because it's going now through the stuffing and inside the body. All right, now that our stuffing is done, we're gonna start moving on to our next round. You're gonna continue to stuff as you go. So we're done stuffing. We are going to go to round 21. Now you'll continue to stuff as we go, but this is a 2 single crochet and then a decrease. So very similar to the last rounds that we were working on. So put your stitch marker in. So that was your 1 single crochet. Then we have 2 single crochets, and now we're going to go into our decrease. So front loop and front loop. Okay, yarn over, pull through the loops, yarn over, pull through the loops. All right, so there's your decrease. So again, 2 singles and then a decrease. And I'll go ahead and pause here, and you can meet me at the end just like we did in the previous rounds. We've reached round 22, very similar to the last few. We are going to this time do a single crochet and then a decrease. Since this is just like the other rounds, I am going to have you pause the video and I will meet you at round 23. Oh. Round 23 is going to be 6 decreases. So no single crochets in this one. They're all decreases. Remember, you're going through those front 2 loops, grabbing the yarn, pulling through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's your first one. You're going to do this 6 times. And then you're going to fasten off. So again, you're going to go through those front 2 loops. So 1, 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's your second. And then I'm going to again speed through this so that we can get to the end. I'll meet you there. All right. So we have our final piece. I'm going to snip off the yarn. And all right, so you're going to now have a tail and a loop. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull your loop out away from your tail. So the tail is going to come through those stitches. So I pull it out. And then I'm going to tug nice and tightly, and you're going to notice I have this little hole, and I need to make sure that I stuff my pear so that it's nice and full but not over full. So I'm going to add more stuffing, and then we're going to close off by weaving in the ends. Now that our pear is nice and stuffed, we are still left with a hole that we need to close up. So we have a tail that we need to weave in to our bottom so that we can close it off. So we're going to be putting the yarn into our darning needle, and with plush yarn, sometimes it's really hard to just put it in. So if you fold it over and kind of wiggle it on, after I filmed this, I had learned about the stitch marker trick, so just go check that out. But yeah, so let's go ahead and start weaving. So what I do is the front loops only, and I go in an up and down motion. So I'm going to start going down through the front loop and pulling it through. And then I'm going to go into the next stitch and I'm going to weave it up. And I'm going to just go ahead and do that all the way around till I get back to the beginning. So up and down. All right, once I get to the end now is the time we close it up. So you're gonna pull tightly, but not so tight that you're going to snap the yarn, because the chenille plush yarn does break often. So you're gonna pull snugly, just enough to close it, but not enough to snap it. And then you're going to take your needle, still threaded, and you're going to push it through your pear, through the top, so that it kind of hides the majority of the yarn inside your pear. And then you'll pull that out and just snip off the excess. Sometimes I'll go back with my needle and kind of dig out or stuff back in the extra yarn, and you can kind of wiggle and tug until it is in the shape that you really want it to be. And now we've got to go put on its little mouth detail. So we're going to get our acrylic yarn for that. So I have my acrylic yarn. I'm going to thread my needle with that acrylic. And what I like to do when I'm making my little mouth is kind of decide where the center is. His eyes are a little bit off, so I'm going to just kind of decide where my center is. So let's see. Let's go about, it's about six stitches, so I'm going to go about roughly 3. So that's going to be my center. All right, when I make my mouth, I'm gonna make sure that I want a little tail so that I can tie it off later. So I'm gonna actually go from behind my little pear and squish through. I'm gonna kind of decide where the end of the mouth is gonna be. So I think I'm gonna eyeball it and just put it a little bit under his eye. And then I'm going to push it all the way through so that I just have a teeny tiny tail on the other side. There it is. Don't pull it all the way because then the tail will come out. And then we're going to go to the other side, creating a straight line. Now, you can see I'm turning my little guy upside down. I need to find the center and how big I want my mouth. So I'm probably going to go down about 1 or 2 stitches or rows and find where I want the bottom of my little mouth V to be. So I'm coming out, so going diagonal, I've got my straight line on top, and I'm going to be going out. I'm pulling that through. And so now I have my little straight line mouth here. You could leave it that way, and depending on how you want your expression to be, but I'm actually going to take my needle and go through that line that I made, and then I'm going to pull, and you'll start to see the little V being created, and then there it is. And so now I need to take my needle, and I have to go through that exact same stitch that I came out of, and then go out the other way so that I can tie it off. Just like that. Okay, so there's my little mouth. There are other tricks to creating kind of more of a seamless mouth. I'll have videos on that later on, but right now this little V is what we're gonna go with. So you'll snip off your excess, and then you will tie a knot on the side of your cut. Okay, once that tail is tied off, you can use your darning needle to try to stuff it in. Sometimes it doesn't work, so I like to get my crochet hook and kind of squeeze it through and get that tail tucked in to the body so it's not noticeable outside. All right, so there is our little pear. Super cute. All right, so if you are looking for a little bit more detail in your face, you can always add some little white acrylic around the eyes and some eyebrows. You can also try embroidering your eyes. I will link a great tutorial down below. These are super fun, and they're great if you're going to give these to a young child, so that you don't have to worry about a choking hazard. All right, so I hope you had fun making your pears, and be sure to share if you're on social media. I would love to see what you've made. If you found this video helpful, make sure you comment down below. Ask any questions if you need to. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Also, follow me on Instagram and TikTok for those quick crochet tips as well as behind the scenes fun. Until next time, happy crocheting!